Hello everybody and welcome to another one of our short training videos. Over the past few weeks we've been looking at how to be a leader, how to be an effective leader. What are the leadership traits and qualities that we need? Leadership is a privilege. It's not a right. It's not something you absolutely should be given. It is a privilege that you acquire through your growth within companies or in your own business. Today we're going to talk about motivating others. In a previous video I spoke about motivating yourself, myself. As a leader we need to motivate ourselves first before we can motivate others. Let me give you a quick image. When you fly, at the briefing moment when the air hostesses say to you the safety conditions, one of the things that they say is when your mask drops down, remember to put on your own mask first before helping others. It's exactly the same with motivating others. If you can't motivate your team, yourself, you can't motivate your team. If you can't engage with the power that you need to get up every day, do what you need to do, achieve greater success, how can you pass that on to the rest of your team? My name is Igwe. I have over 35 years experience of growing, developing, creating and leading teams across the 5 different markets where I've lived and worked, and also Europe, Middle East and Africa. If you're familiar with the videos and you're a subscriber, thank you very much, really appreciate it. Otherwise, please feel free to like, comment and share, and let's continue this journey of leadership together. So let's come back to motivating others. Before we get into it, a very quick story. Many years ago, it wasn't even a special birthday for me. It wasn't my 30th or my 40th, but my wife decided that she was going to do a surprise birthday party. She very kindly, we were living in England, organised that friends would travel in from all over the country and from abroad where I'd lived and worked already. It was a great event, a great experience. But you know what? I've never, at that stage anyway, liked surprises. Surprises were not something I wanted for myself. I loved, and I still love, giving surprises to others. That really excites and generates excitement in me. But to be surprised me was something that I had to get used to. So I was very appreciative that she did that. It was fantastic, great time with seeing friends I've not seen for a long time. It was a great moment, a wonderful surprise that she gave me. But I did tell her not to do it again. Of course, she ignored me, and about 10 years later, she did exactly the same thing, caught me unawares, which I found just unacceptable for me because I should have spotted it. Anyway. The point there is, we all love surprises. Some don't accept it as well because they need to, like me, get used to it. But there are others who love it. Let's take a very simple example. Would you prefer to get a bottle of champagne or would you prefer a handwritten card? It doesn't matter which one you choose. Ideally, you'd want both, I'm sure you're saying. And why not? It's entirely your right to ask for both and expect both. But in my experience, the one that has left the lasting impression is the handwritten note with a card that you, or I in my case, went out and bought. I'd spent time in a store finding a card that suited a particular person and write him or her a thank you note. Not a birthday note, not a whatever, just a thank you for something they had done. You see, that is you as a leader communicating the fact that you care for that person. You care for those people. Those are people who have been put in your care and for whom you should be caring. Motivating others, motivating your team, for me has to be one of the most pleasurable parts of leading. In a minute, I'm going to give you some examples as to how you can address that if you're not familiar with how to motivate others. But in my career, I've done big things, as it were, if you think it big, every year to invite my team, fly them in, they train in, they drive in, they whatever, to my home, and we do a barbecue. One day or one evening, a barbecue. Run around the house, play football with my kids, play the piano, play the guitar, whatever it is. They discover things that just unites them. That really engages them. We've done a disco bus tour by night, 2 hours. Disco dancing, drinking, champagne, whatever, 2 hours. I've taken them to London, a smaller group, admittedly. We've worked there, and we've gone to what was my favorite Chinese restaurant, which they just talked for years about. I brought my team in and we went to a Paris hip, trendy restaurant, bar, nightclub, reserved a section. They still talked about it for years afterwards. So you can do things like that. I'm just giving you that as an example. But you can do little things as well. From a handwritten note or a come into my office, I want to thank you for something you've done which has been truly amazing, really appreciate it. That's showing care, love and concern. And it doesn't come from a place where you just want to be seen to be the leader or the boss. You want to be seen as someone who cares. So how can you go about doing this? Well, I'm going to give you a few examples of my thoughts on this. The first is you start out by sharing the vision. We've talked about this before. Remember, if people don't see the vision, they don't see the big picture, they don't see what they're striving towards, how can you expect them to be motivated? Beneath the vision come the goals. What are the goals that you've set for the company, for the team, for the department on that project? 3 months, 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, 20 years, whatever it is. What are the goals that you've set out which are linked to the vision? I'm breaking these down so you can get a feel for it. You've got to show through your values. Remember I said it's not just about writing a card, it's not about giving champagne, it's not about having a barbecue in your home. If people think that your values and the reason you're doing this has an ulterior motive, you're not going to be able to drive them forward. What are your values? What do you live by? What is your code of conduct? Your trustworthiness, your integrity, your honesty, your openness. What is it? They've got to see all that coming through. Be transparent with them. To motivate them, you've got to explain when something is not working, when they miss their targets, they missed the budget, the goals were not achieved, company performance has gone down or isn't where it should be, and maybe they're not going to get bonuses or a salary increase as a result of that. Be transparent with them. Show them what they need to know. Show vulnerability. Now this is really important as a leader because a lot of leaders like to think they have to be strong and powerful and macho, if you're a man, throughout the whole time. Don't show any weakness. Don't show any failing. But be vulnerable. It goes back to the transparency one. If business is not going well and you're not happy, show them. Demonstrate to them that you really feel it, you sense it. Show vulnerability so that they can know. Lead from the front. Very often you may push people saying, you go do it. If it's a tough task or a tough problem or it's unknown territory, they're going into it for the first time, go ahead of them or sit with them and show them what needs to be done. So be there leading from the front. Communicate well and regularly. Make sure they know all that's going on that they need to know. Clearly some confidential information you can't share with them, but open the communication channel. Encourage teamwork. Encourage them to work as a team and to behave as a team as well. So when they come for a barbecue, yes, there were some rifts, there were some challenges, there were some issues, but for that afternoon or that evening, or for that 2-hour bus tour that we did with the disco bus, they are as much as possible a team. They forget their disputes at work, but also empower individuals. Give people the chance to succeed. And if you see that they're failing, be there to support them, to catch them, to give them what they need. And of course, probably the most important in all of that is praise and recognition. Praise and recognition. We all need praise, and we all need to be recognized for what we do. Because when you praise the team and you recognize individuals, and yes, in different companies I've been in, we put targets and they would get a special opportunity to win something, maybe that bottle of champagne, or maybe a night out. I sent my PAs to London for a work experience, but also to say thank you, enjoy a night in London. And they sent me a beautiful picture of the two of them, my two PAs, enjoying the experience of a dinner in London. I still have that picture, that image today. Those are wonderful things. Recognize them, praise them, but it's a bit like being a parent in a family. You are there to help them to grow. And so if you follow these principles and these ideas and you action these, you will discover how much more your team, your department, your company will be motivated to work towards you, because they see that you care. They see what you want them to achieve. And if they want to achieve more, you are there for them. So leading by example and being present for your team is so important, because that being present part is key as well. If for some reason there's a problem, they need to know that they can contact you, they can connect with you. If you travel a lot like I do, they want to be able to speak to you on the phone. They don't want to wait 3 days until you come back. So be present as well. These are all ways and techniques to enable you to be a better leader, to motivate your team, motivate others after motivating yourself. So I hope this has helped to understand more about being an effective leader, the leadership qualities, the leadership traits, the leadership skills, to enable you to become a better, more successful leader. So once again, if you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to comment, like and share, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you.